let's switch gears here. Sorry about that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kenny Pawut Makwa, Standing Bear Soda, Tribe Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60s, Scoop Survivor, published author, international published author, and United States Swimming National Champion. And welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle, which really implies that we are the Medicine Circle, which really kind of takes me off the hook because I absolutely do not want to be in charge. May appear from the outside that I'm leaving this thing. I am absolutely not leaving this thing. I am in the service of the Great Spirit, and I am in the service of this circle. And there's really no other place that I'd rather be than sitting with you on this beautiful, beautiful morning in Germany, right outside of Plauen, Germany. So it's really just a beautiful day. I'm just looking at the sun rising here, and and so. One of the most important things that we say any day should be said every day. If no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, which really just simply means that I want you to live your very best life. Find the very best version of you. Be healthy and happy. That's what I want. That's what love is. I want everything for you and nothing from you. And then the reciprocal would be like the full circle would be, well, Wayne, Standing Bear, I love you too. So that would be fine and much appreciated. Okay, a couple of house announcements. We are coming off two platforms, so if you see me looking back and forth, there's two cameras, and I'm looking back and forth like that. So we are on YouTube, Standing Bear, the author. And that is so everything we do here on social media and Facebook is archived over there on YouTube. Yes, so a couple of you have asked where can we get like a list of everything that you've done. And so just go over to YouTube, please like and subscribe over there, and just have fun, just relax, just hit that play button, and just relax. That's it. And so. Okay, we are going over, and this is a request from you. We are going over May 11th. This is actually one of my favorite readings. I was looking for something this morning, and I found it, and it's just so beautiful and so powerful, and I really appreciate that. So if we could get a volunteer to put that in the feed, daily medicine and the whole meditation, to put daily medicine May 11th. Yes. So, upcoming events. So, I will be traveling to in the next couple weeks, traveling over to France, and there is my film is opening, so that's very exciting. The opening. My documentary in Bear Skin, and I think I posted that the trailer on my feed on social media too. So yes, that's very exciting. That film will be done actually probably early next week. So oh yeah, very very exciting. So I think that's it. So okay. So let's begin in that good and usual way. Like always, we ask for a volunteer to keep this smudge going throughout the morning meditation. So if you could just give me a little heart, just give me a little heart, give me a little thumbs up if you can kind of keep this smudge going throughout the morning meditation, in remembrance for the residential school children who never came home. So there's some of you, there was a question, what residential school survivors are you talking about? Well, these are not the survivors. These are the ones that did not survive. So let's, the Catholic residential schools, we were required to go there. So that was another question. Why did you go there if you were, tortured and murdered and all that? Well, it wasn't our choice. So it was a policy of the state to that we were required to First Nations, Indigenous were required to go to these schools, and there was all sorts of things happening going on there, unpleasant things up until including murder. And now they are finding the bodies, these mass graves, and so that's what we're talking about. It is the smoke. It is the smoke that connects us all, and that's why we do that. So yeah. So yes, please and thank you in advance for doing that. And let's also thank the grandmother who suggested this. So, when the grandmother speaks, this is just, grandfather said, make a lesson out of everything, right? So, so when the grandmother suggests, and there's a grandmother out in Vancouver, British Columbia, who suggested that we do this, and when the grandmother suggested, it's no longer a suggestion. It's a very beautiful and powerful gesture when the grandmother's suggest. And she popped on here the other day. I had a little text message with her, so she's doing okay. So many of you ask who she is and what she is, and she would rather remain just quiet. That's okay too. All right, so let's begin in the usual way. If you would like to offer with me, that would be good. We just offer a little bit of tobacco. We begin with prayer. We begin with spirit. The ancestors and the elders said, if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. And if it doesn't begin with offering, then it doesn't begin. So let's begin in a really good and beautiful way. Again, if you would like to offer with us, that would be good. And then Kitchi-Manitou, Creator, Great Spirit, Chi-Miigwech, Chi-Miigwech. Chi-Miigwech for our breath, Chi-Miigwech for our circle, Chi-Miigwech for our day, Chi-Miigwech for our life. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We are grateful for our last breath, and we are hopeful for our next, and we live in that place in between. Again, we come here. We mean no harm. We come in a good way, humble way, and sacred way. And we may come here for a lot of reasons, and that is good. But the first reason why we come here is life. Is life. Life is most important. Without it, we have nothing. Without life, we have nothing. And we don't come here to be selfish and only celebrate our own life. we come here to be selfless. We come here to celebrate all nations, tribes, and circles, especially those nations, tribes, and circles that do not look like the two-legged, like the standing nation, the ones that offer the world breath. We say thank you. To the swimming nations and the fish nations and the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water, we say thank you. To the winged nations, ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the wind and air, we say thank you. To the creepy crawlers and the slithers and the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth, we say thank you. To the four-legged nations, circles, and tribes, we understand that you offer us and teach us so much. 2 and 4 hour humanity, we say thank you. And of course, to other two-legged nations, circles, and tribes, all two-legged nations, circles, and tribes. We understand that you are our teachers. We understand this, and this makes our ears and our hearts very happy. We come here today to celebrate those beautiful spirits that bring us life, air, water, fire, earth. We celebrate the ones who have come before us, our ancestors, and remember, if there are our relatives here, which all life is, then they are our ancestors over there. And they have lived their life in a really good and beautiful way. Living in accordance with spiritual law, that is their offering to the next 7 generations, and that is what they have offered to us, and this makes our ears and our hearts very happy. These good prayers. And we understand that some of our two-legged ancestors were hurt, wounded, abused, and traumatized. We understand the hurt, the pain, the suffering. We acknowledge this. We acknowledge the grieving and the heartache. But we also acknowledge this is a time of healing. We also acknowledge healing is a process, and during this process, it's okay not to be okay. And that is why we are here in this circle, to acknowledge that, to understand that we are all at different places in our healings, in our health development. And that is good. We are here to use good words to support each other, to love each other. And we also acknowledge that this is a time of healing. And the healing is not just for us. The way we live, the way we heal is our offering to the next 7 generations. For we only borrow this earth from our children, and our children are only loaned to us. So we are at the intersection between 2 unseen worlds. A beautiful time, a beautiful place. We can break the cycles, and we can break the chains that keep us sick. Fear, guilt, shame, drinking and drugging. We understand this. We understand this. But this is a process, and there's a path that our ancestors have given us. But we can only see it with our hearts. That means we can only see it with beautiful prayers and beautiful intentions. Let us come here today and walk this path together. It's called the Red Road, the road of wellness, the road of all life. It is our indigenous spiritual path which we offer to all other life. To come here and to walk with us in a good way, to learn and to heal and to love together. And on this road, there are spiritual teachings: humility, love, truth, honesty, respect, wisdom, and courage. And these are beautiful spirits. Natural law, universal law. So let us come here today and sit with these. Let us make good relations. That is why we are here, to make good relations with both seen and unseen. Both seen and unseen. And there's great time for compassion, great time for gentleness. We cannot see these things without it. So let's come here today and let us remember our sacred words. Let us remember what we say and how we say it. If we do not use sacred words, we will forget that we are sacred. We will forget the world is sacred. We will forget our ancestors are sacred and these teachings are sacred. So let's come here today and remember to love in a good way. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Once again, my name is Kanipa with Mac Watts, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, 34 territory, Anishinaabe. So a couple of things here. If you are new here, we've had a bunch of new people over here because we are in a different continent over here. So we are the Medicine Circle is on the road, and we are here in Germany once again. Got the comment again. I love these concepts that you're bringing, and really. Like hollow bones. That was the comment. I love the concept of hollow bones, and that's a little, as Pops would say, a little gentle course correction like that, right? So Pops gave me a lot of gentle course correction growing up. I think I think you need a gentle course correction, Wayne. So let us be gentle here. So hollow bones. So the prayer that we just said, that's a hollow bones prayer. That's a red road prayer. To make good relations. We understand that there's a life force out there. That's not a concept. That's not a theory. It is, and is represented in the trees and the animals and all these beautiful things, right? And so what we're supposed to do here, and this answers like a loaded question. So what we're supposed to do here is like one question, well, what's my purpose? Well, let's start out with, connecting to those things that bring us life, right? It's hard to live a good life if we're not connected to those things that bring us a good life: air, water, fire, earth, right? So that's the connection, right? That's where everything starts. So we are here connecting to this beautiful time, this beautiful place, beautiful water. And again, that's not a concept. Fire is not a concept. The sunrise is not a concept. So we are to connect to these beautiful things, right? So that's part one. Part two is we not only connect to these beautiful things, we are to give prayers, life, love. That's part two. Because the first part is good, that we connect, but we're supposed to be kind and gentle, right? And we are supposed to share all these teachings, right? Teachings from the water, the fire. We're supposed to pray with the fire, with the water, with the moon, with the sun, with all these things, with the hollow, all these things that give us life. That's the beauty of it, right? And it's hard to find the beauty in ourselves if we don't pray with those beautiful things that give us life. And where's my pen? Here. That you can write down. That you can write down. It's hard to know ourselves. It's hard even to breathe, it begins with this beautiful, beautiful thank yous. It really does, right? I talk about the sunrise a lot because that's what Grandfather Tony did. That's what my elders said. That's the beginning of the day, right? So it's not only the sunrise that comes up, it's also the returning of the ancestors. So we are welcome and honored that the ancestors are returning. It's not just one, it's not just that light. The ancestors are a new beginning, and that you can write down too. So every day we get this beautiful opportunity to live a beautiful life. We have a beautiful, it doesn't have to be the way it's always been. We can create something beautiful, something better, something, that confusion, that loneliness, that goes away when we connect with those things. And that's just spiritual law. And again, this is not a concept. This is just a beautiful way to live, right? So, we don't have to be lost, scared, afraid anymore, lonely anymore. So we can go to our what? Our relatives, right? And so to be full circle in this little comment, so we go to that place where the new relatives return, right? Which is the sunrise. They say the veil is finished there. So the veil is finished at the sunrise and sunset, right? So we bookend the day with gratitude and thank you. That's not a concept. That's what we do, and everything in between, we should be grateful and thankful for. That's it. Thankful for the water, thankful for this, thankful for that. So and it's really hard to live a life without gratitude, and there's really nothing that gratitude can help. Right here, write that one down too, And so it really begins at the beginning of the day where we just say, hey, welcome, this is pretty cool. We get another shot at this, right? I think that's really cool. And, I just love coming here and sharing what was so freely offered to me, right? Like grandfather, well, I talked about this last night. We did a podcast with Jesse Hall, The Missing Link, and we talked about this. We talked about the gratitude, talked about the stories, talked about all these things that bring us life. Our stories, when we understand that, when we're grateful for our own stories, that brings us more life, and that you can write down too. That's just a beautiful thing, right? So, I'm gonna light some more sage here. I just felt like lighting more shade. That happens sometimes. That's Hollow Bones. I think I've talked enough about it. I can talk a long time. So, okay, ancestors and elders. Okay, another opportunity to be grateful. These are all opportunities to be grateful. So thank you to Tony Stonehawk, my direct elder. I have been with him for over 30 years now. Again, I was talking about that the other day, Jesse also. I posted that too. So, if you want to go ahead and listen to that, it was a really good interview last night. And, just talking about Grandfather Tony, man, I was so grateful. And the fact is, I don't really know where I'd be without it, because pretty miserable, violent, drunk back then. And so that's and now I'm not that person anymore, right? Like I talk to people now here, and I just tell them a little bit about my past, nothing too dramatic or too like that, and they're like, wow, man, I can't believe you were that way. But the fact is, that's that's a gift from the Spirit, right? That's a beautiful gift from the Spirit. And I really like telling that story because it tells about change. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been, right? And so, like the other thing is, I can't do this, I can't do this without you, right? Right. It'd be really lonely if I were sitting in a room just talking to myself, right? So I thank every single one, and that includes the ancestors too. And as we offer that tobacco, we are offering that to the ancestors as well. So just big gratitude, So if you have an elder, just go ahead and put them in the feed, anything like that. Just a moment of gratitude, right? It's okay to be grateful, right? That's something that the colonial world doesn't really teach us, right? But in the indigenous world, that's something invaluable, and we can't live without it. So, okay, circle medicine. Okay, so here we are. So no one's in front of us, no one's behind us, no one's above us, no one is below us. And this is what we look at. This is a braid of sweetgrass, one of the four sacred medicines. And this is what we do right here. This is who we are. This is 14 of us right here. This is so many of us right here, intertwined and overlapping, both seen and unseen. This is us in the trees, us in the birds. This is us in the songs. This is us in the sunrise. This is all these beautiful things that bring us life. Here, there we go. The circle is about unity. Like, we said it in the morning, the opening prayer. we are all equal. That's what that means. And so that's not a concept. That's just the way we live. It's not an understanding. It's not even knowledge. It's just wisdom, because wisdom is we learn to live with the knowledge that we have required. Like if we don't live with the knowledge that we have required, it's not wisdom. It's something else, right? And that knowledge can be misconstrued. But when we live the knowledge, that's the wisdom, right? So sacred feminine. Okay, so it's really important that we cover this. There's a couple of questions like, why do you do this? Like, it makes people uncomfortable, and I've never got that response before. But it's just like, this is really really important, right? We don't shy away from these things, right? We understand that the colonial Western patriarchy world, including their religions, don't acknowledge the power of the sacred feminine. Here in indigenous circles, that's where we start. So it is, the colonial world is completely dyslexic, right? We understand that, right? Completely dyslexic. So we just switch that around. We acknowledge them as the life givers. That's just start. That's where we're going to start right there. The life givers. We would not be here if it weren't for the life givers. That's the deal, right? Right. So why would we marginalize them? That makes no sense. On Turtle Island, which is North America, that's Mexico, United States, and Canada. So on Turtle Island, right, before the invasion, before the British and before the French, right, before the Portuguese and all those, the conquistadors, right? There's a lot of invaders, right? Not just one. So, but before them, there was a grandmother's council that was in charge, and that is beautiful. That is beautiful, right? And so that is what we are trying to get back. And so we acknowledge this. We acknowledge the power. That's what we are doing. Simple acknowledging of the power of the life givers, right? And the fact is, the colonial world doesn't respond to them as life givers. Here we do. So anyway, okay, so question of the day. I think we've covered about 30 questions so far, but please keep your questions, concerns, and comments coming. I do not guarantee that I will get around to all of them. In fact, when I'm on the road like this, it's, I get a lot of messages every day, and I try to respond to as many as I can. But if I haven't got around to you, just kind of, there's a couple of people said, I asked you a question like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't got a response, and just re-ask the question, and, my apologies. Okay, so we are at this beautiful moment. We're actually kind of early, which is amazing. We've never been early this early before. We are going over Daily Medicine May 11th. And so if we could put that in the feed here, that would be great. I don't remember if any, I don't remember seeing it in there, but please and thank you. What we will do here is we will read it a couple of times, develop a general impression, and that is like the new beginning, right? So it's okay for you to tell us where you are, who you are, and how this meditation speaks to you. It's okay. It's okay to do that, and it doesn't. So this is not about good or bad. We are not bad people becoming good because we've had some trauma. It doesn't mean we're bad people. It means we're just healing, right? And so just start where you are. That's what Pop said to me, right? And I can remember talking to Pops. I'm like, I have no idea where I'm at. I'm just like hurt, lonely, scared, afraid, and all that. So anyway, so okay, let's get down to it and do it. And so I'm not sure if we put this in the feed. I'm just checking to see if. Oh, May 11th, Sybil. Okay, great. Thank you, Sybil. Okay, great. She's awesome. Love that. So. The spiritual paradox is the more love we carry, the lighter the load. What does that mean to you? What is this speaking, right? What is your general impression, right? This is a beautiful gift from the spirits. These are lessons given to us by Mother Earth, the ancestors. Right? This reading comes from all directions. And we'll get into that in a minute, right? The spiritual paradox is the more love we carry, the lighter the load. What does that mean to you? Right. Right. Okay. Love is the greatest power in the universe. Okay, good, good. Okay. And, there's a lot of confusion about love, right? A lot of confusion. What is love? And we're gonna get into that. But before we get into that, like every reading here, there's there's a beginning, right? There's a sunrise. What is the sunrise here, right? The spiritual. Everything begins with the spirit, right? Everything begins with so that's a basic medicine wheel teaching. So a part of the medicine wheel is spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, right? Those are the four quadrants, right? And that's just one aspect of the medicine wheel. That's the one that we are referring to right now. So in the spiritual paradox, whew, that's an interesting word, right? Spiritual paradox. What is a paradox, right? Maybe if one of us can put that in the feed, the spiritual. So it's like a seemingly absurd, contradictory statement, right? That's what that means, right? So it's kind of like backwards. So the spiritual paradox is okay. Is is like the drum roll, right? So it's kind of we're in the more the more. So greater degree, more, the more love. Okay, here we go. That's why we're here. This is what we do. So in the short version, this is why we're here, right? We are learning how to love, right? Right. And again, this brings great confusion because we live in a colonial patriarchy Western world, which has polluted and toxified, the very thing that gives us life, right? Leave it to the colonials to ruin a beautiful thing, right? Love. What is love, right? Put your put your idea. This is not about right or wrong, right? When you share from your heart, it gives other people permission to share from their hearts. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, love. We already kind of talked about it. So in the beginning, here, let me show you here. So there. So this is my script I read out in the morning, and I love you. That's just so important that we acknowledge that beautiful thing. So what is love, right? Right. So the Western patriarchy world has confused that with lust, right? So lust, and it's just kind of like a physical thing, but really it says here spiritual, right? So now we're starting what with the spiritual, right? We're starting at new beginnings. We're starting at the sunrise to see how it's intertwined and overlapping, right? We can't have one without the other, right? Right. So we're talking about the 7 sacred laws, right? Universal laws, natural law, right? And love is the natural law, but it has relatives, right? It has all these, so everything is intertwined and overlapping, right? So are natural laws, right? So what are the other natural laws? Okay, humility, truth, honesty, respect, wisdom, and courage, right? We don't know love until we are intimately related, understanding, walking with these spiritual things. That's the biggest thing, right? That's the most important thing. Right? If we're not able to walk gracefully with humility, how much do we really know love? How much do we really know love? Not much, right? Humble humility, right? We get confused with that with humiliation, right? That's the other end when we don't walk in a good way. When we walk in a humble way, guess what happens at the end? We're talking about humiliation, right? Not the same thing. Here, write that down. Humility and humiliation, on the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? But let's not get those confused. They are still relatives. If we don't do one, then we will probably at some point down the line, pretty quickly, I would imagine, we would suffer this place of humiliation, right? Yeah. And so humiliation is not walking in a good way, right? Not walking, okay. Truth, humility. Okay, let's bring some indigenous spirituality in here. Okay, humility, okay. Is represented Grandfather Tony's teaching is the wolf, right? The wolf. The wolf teaches humility, right? Teaches a place in the circle, right? The circle of what? The circle of life, not the circle of humanity. That's just one sacred hoop among many other sacred hoops, right? Right. Humility of the wolf. Knowing our place in the family, knowing our place in the circle. The power of the pack is in the wolf, the power of the wolf is in the pack, right? So that is equal and balanced, right? We are trying to walk in harmony. We're trying to walk in balance. If we don't have humility, how can we do that? And if we can't walk in a humble way, there's no way. We are really far away from this beautiful thing called love. Right. Truth. Okay, the turtle. Right. The truth. The truth is understanding humility. The truth is understanding courage, love, wisdom, honesty, respect. That's the truth. So it is our intimate relationship with the truth. So the truth and humility and love, they are intertwined. This is what they look like right here. The truth, humility, and love, they are all intertwined and overlap. We can't have one without the other, right? Turtle, the truth, slow, grounding, goes on land, goes on water. Has, the shell, the shell is there's moon cycles on the shell, on the days, right? That's how close it is. And you know what? Here's another beautiful teaching, and like a lot of people think that the turtles live in their shell. No, the shell is. They don't live in their shell, they are their shells, right? That's the truth. Humans aren't away from Mother Earth. We are Mother Earth. You see the similarities? Write that down, right? If the turtle does not live in the shell, right? We do not live on Mother Earth. We are Mother Earth. That's the truth. That's just right. And we can go on. I do a lot of workshops and seminars, and this is what we talk about, right? Right, let's talk about courage. Courage, the bear, right? Represented by the bear, right? Yeah. And that's not self-serving because I'm a standing bear, by the way. Just happens to be a coincidence. So how about that? So anyway, I love it. So the bear, courage, right? What does a bear do when it's threatened, right? It stands up, standing bear. It holds its ground. What is that? That is courage, right? And you know what? We can take a run at any other. Like I told my tree story. Who here remembers my tree story? Just give me a little thumbs up on my tree story. I am all heart all the time, right? That is a representation of everything here, right? When the tree says, I am all heart all the time, what is that? That's love. Teaching us how to love. Everything is intertwined and overlapping, right? That's the beauty. That's the power. We are never alone when we sit with these teachings. We are here to make good relations. When we sit with them, guess what? We become them. And once we become them, we realize we already are that, right? So everything that we are is already within us, right? But the fact is, we live in a world where we feel separated from, right? And the fact is, science has proven this. Like half of the DNA of the tree is in us, right? So what we are, the tree, we already know how to do that. So okay, so let's stop here. So there's spiritual agreements that we made, that humanity made, that the two-leggeds have made, right? With the Creator, with Mother Earth, with the ancestors, with the next 7 generations that we have forgotten about, right? We have forgotten these ancient sacred agreements. They are humility, truth, love, honesty, respect, wisdom, and courage, right? Those are spiritual agreements on how to live a good life in harmony and balance with everything else. But if we don't know what love is, how are we going to live a good life? All right, this is the basic here. So, like we don't sit with the water, grandmother water. Right? Beautiful, powerful, sacred, feminine. How will we ever know ourselves? Most of our bodies is made up of water. If we don't know the water, then how are we possibly going to know ourselves? And if we don't know ourselves, how can we possibly know what love is? Right? The very things, again, overlapping and intertwined. So those things that bring us life, giving prayers, love, life, life. That's what we are talking about. Everybody's running around looking for a partner, but no one's creating that good, beautiful relationship within themselves. I love you, right? That's why the grandmothers, they hold these water ceremonies. Write that down. If you ever get a chance to go to a water ceremony, go to it, right? And there's so many right ways to do it. Like people, different tribes and different regions of the country, of the world, different continents do it in a different way. They are all beautiful and they are all correct because they bring us that much closer. When they do it for us, right? Right. It's like that ripple effect, right? And again, a water analogy, right? But that ripple effect, it comes down, hits the water, spreads out in all directions, right? That's exactly what we are doing here, right? Intertwine, when we talk about love, anywhere, it affects everything everywhere, right? Even mentioning the word love, our biology has changed, right? That's a beautiful thing. That's what makes this circle and other circles. When we come in a good way, when we pray in a good way, when we offer in a good way, that's what makes it so powerful. So people say, well, why don't you ever talk about love? And I'm like, that's the only thing that we talk about, right? Just because it doesn't mention it doesn't mean that we aren't a part of it. Again, Mother Earth and humanity, we cannot be separated, right? Right? That's the illusion, right? I love you, right? I love you, I love you, I love you. And again, that's why we say it, because we want to change the narrative that we live in. We want to change the narrative of what we are offering to the next 7 generations. I love you, right? The way we live, the way we connect, the way we honor, the way we respect, we live in integrity, right? The way we live in humility, honesty, love, truth, wisdom, and respect. The way we live that way. These aren't concepts. These are who we are, right? Right. That's love. Love is an eagle. It carries. It has the strength to carry all others. Do you have the strength to carry all others, right? I don't know if I do, but you know what? I get a little closer. So what we're doing here today, we talked about it yesterday, bits and pieces, right? That's okay. A little bit at a time. This is not, love isn't an event. It's a lifetime process. Write that down. Beginning. So we are to be good relatives, both seen and unseen, beginning with spirit. That tells us exactly who we are, what we are, where to begin and where to begin, right? So we're talking about this beautiful place. We talked about the sunrise. That's the most loving place. That is the most loving place, right? Welcoming the ancestors back. What is part of our ancestry, right? That first light, right? Like if we're not doing the 30-day challenge, right? Who here is doing the 30-day challenge here? So the 30-day challenge is when you mentioned this the other day, well, you haven't talked about the 30-day challenge. Okay, so here's the 30-day challenge. This is what Grandfather Tony told me early, like 28 years ago, when I was freaking insane, right? I was just angry and I was all these things. And then so he said, here, there, I want you to take this tobacco. I want you to take this tobacco and I want you to face east as the sun is rising. And I want you to talk about your gratitude, right? I want to talk about what you're thankful for. And at that time, I had no knowledge of what prayer was. I thought it was like a religious thing, a Christian thing, a Catholic thing. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm doing this, Bob. There's no way. So we hemmed and hawed. We went back and forth. And so finally, I begrudgingly agreed to do it. I said, well, I said, so anyway, I got to that point where I just said, okay, Bob, so we can do it, man. So after a couple false starts, so it took me like 3 months to do 1 month because I kept on tripping, right? Because we're a little spiritually clumsy when we start out. That's okay. We acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. I was spiritually clumsy, right? So So basically, like the first week, and this is really important that we understand this. So the first week, um, this is what it looked like. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm here because grandfather told me to be here. I feel awkward. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. I don't feel like anybody's out there. But if anybody's out there, I'm 65 East, I'm a little late. I showed up, and this kind of thing. And I said, well, all right, I'm just happy to be sober one day. Okay, so okay. The next week it looks like okay. I'm here because the old guy wanted me here. I don't really want to do this. I feel silly. I feel just like ridiculous here. I'm smoking this tobacco. I don't even know what this is. And when he told me to do it, it sounds spiritual, but I'm not feeling it, right? But I see it. But here's tobacco anyway. So the third week, I was like, okay, thank you for the sunrise. Thank you for sobriety. And like by the fourth week, I was like, okay, thank you, Grandfather Tony. And it was really clumsy and really sloppy, right? That's what we are when we're just walking and just beginning to walk a spiritual path. And sometimes in the middle we get clumsy and sloppy, and that's okay because that's just the way it is, right? So I called the 30-day challenge because there was a 30-day challenge because Grandfather Tony taught me to do this for 30 days. And so on day 31, I said, Tony, what do I do in day 30? He said, don't worry about it. And I went, okay, so day 31 came, and I'm sitting there drinking my coffee. And I felt like, I'm thinking, man, I don't know, man, something's kind of missing here, right? Something's kind of missing. So I remember we had landlines back then. That's how old I am. So we had landlines. So I called Grandpa Tony. I said, Tony, it's like 11 o'clock, right? So noon. And like I get up at 6, and now it's 11 o'clock. I go, Tony, man, I don't know. And I said, Tony, I'm done the 30-day challenge. It's day 31. What do I do now? And like the old ones, they just kind of laugh, right? They go, ha, 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 ha. So I said, do it for another 30 days. Right? I went, okay. And, like there was that place of relief within me, right? I said, okay, good. Now, like there was something beautiful and something was missing, right? That beautiful thing and missing was prayer, and that prayer is life. Life gives us prayer, and prayer gives us life. They are intertwined, And so that was really the first time that I felt this. If I never done that, so I offered this medicine to you to go for 30 days, and there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us in there. Here, there's some people talking about the 30-day challenge. So that's a beautiful. So the first thing we do, we make coffee, and then we, and then I face each, and I say, okay, thank you for the. I still do it after 30 years. I still do it, and it still feels awesome, and it still feels like if I missed it, like something else. And if you miss it, you can start over your day anytime. So I've done it in the middle afternoon. Last week I did the middle afternoon. I was sitting there like, man, I'm not feeling right. Something's a little off, and I said, oh my God, and then praise what, and that's okay. We don't beat ourselves up and just redo it, and that's okay. You know what that is? That's loving, right? That's loving yourself. Okay, so can we get back to the reading cycle? Okay, let's get back to the more. I start drinking the decaf now. I'm getting real fired up because I love doing this. I love sharing the medicine with the spiritual paradox. Okay, seemingly absurd, contradictory statement. The more love we. Okay. We, us, and our. English is a really bad language, but like a broken clock is right twice a day. That's the we that they're talking about, right? We, us, and our. When they are right. So we always look for the good. When we find the good, we take it and we run with it. So we, us, and our. That implies what? What does that imply? That implies the circle. That implies this beautiful, beautiful place, right? That's what it implies. This is what this is. This is what this is. This is all of us right here. This is a beautiful. We are not alone. We love you. That's what that says. That's what that says. Right? We. The we can be the circle. The we can be humanity. But the we can also be all life too. Right? And okay. The more love we carry. What does that mean? There's an assignment there. There's something that we're supposed to do, and they are referencing this, right? And the thing that they are referencing is love, right? Love. So we are taking one big step closer to this beautiful, loving place, this gentle place. So there was a comment the other day about, okay, what? So how do I know if I'm, like, how do I know if I'm in that loving space and place, right? Well, if you're happy, right, that's a good place, right? Right? We mean no harm in what we do. We offer prayers, we offer life. And so at the end of all that, we're supposed, here, write this down, we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be happy offering the 30-day challenge. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be praying with and for the trees, with and for each other. That's what we carry, right? Okay, let's take another run. Let's take another angle at this, right? Right. And this is we talk about this at the end of every live meditation. This ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you, what? Does not end. That means we carry what we have learned here, what we have lived here, what we have listened to here, and most importantly, what we have loved here, and we carry that out to what? The four winds, right? Does us no good to be all spiritual here if we don't take it out to the four winds. That means we have to be spiritual here. If we're not spiritual here, if it doesn't go here, then it won't go out to the four winds. It won't go to our family. It won't go to our loved ones. It won't go to our communities or nations, right? It won't go there. It has to go here first. So when we carry, this is where it begins. It begins in that beautiful, beautiful heart space, right? That's where we care. That's the spiritual center. That's the sacred center, right? This brings us to that beautiful, beautiful place where we're at that place of harmony and balance. That light at the center of the universe. We become that light. We carry that light. We are to be the peacemakers. I love you. We are to be the peacemakers, right? What are we doing today? How are we carrying that peace? Are we carrying that peace to those places, people, places, and things that need a peace, right? Or do we avoid peace, right? Do we avoid saying that? Do we avoid being kind and generous? So we talked about it at the beginning. We are supposed to use our words in a sacred way. Our words are a sacred wind. Write that down. That they are part of this beautiful flow of life. It's not just like there's no new air being made. It's been here for billions of years, right? So now, some of our ancestors have said beautiful, beautiful prayers. And, we know a beautiful, beautiful prayer is much more powerful than words like heavy words, right? Like those hateful words, right? So they think, but what is left in the air already filters itself out, right? That's the natural process. Like here. So if we weren't here in 1,000 years, the air would be really clean again, right? So there's a natural, the water naturally filters itself, right? So those good things that are still there, those loving things. So as we breathe in the prayers of our ancestors, right? And then we carry those, and then we add life to that, right? We are the life givers, and men, we are life givers too. We offer this beautiful, gentle place, right? That's the beauty. That's the power. What are you doing today? Today, the way you use your words is your offering today, right? Write that down. What you say today is your offering today. It's your prayer today. It is your ceremony today, right? Right? Let's hope it is a good one. Let's hope it is a better one. Let's hope, we change the world by the words that we use, by the love that we carry, right? Right. This is what we do, and this is how we do it, right? I love it. Okay. I'm not sure if we finished the reading yet. So let's, okay. The spiritual, yeah. The spiritual paradox is the more love we carry, the lighter the load. So it's not what we carry, it's how we carry it. That's what that means, right? Maybe we're carrying the wrong things. Maybe we're carrying blame, shame, guilt, right? When we carry blame, shame, guilt, when we carry blame, shame, guilt, what happens? We get sick. We get sick. We get emotionally sick. We get mentally sick because what? We started with spirit. Well, we're carrying things in the wrong way. We're carrying, the traumas, right? Right. I see it all the time. People you know, they're emotionally sick, right? They're not in harmony and balance. That means they're up, they're down, they're sad, they're happy, they're this, they're that, they're this, and that's okay, right? Bits and pieces, patience and time. We offer this as a place of a beautiful, loving place, right? So the place that we offer is this what? Beautiful place of love, right? Right, right, right. This beautiful, beautiful place of love. So, uh, the lighter the load. So this is also like, it's really practical, right? So how are you feeling? Right? How are we feeling is an indication, a gauge on what we are carrying. Are we carrying things in a good way? Are we doing things that are shameful? Right? Are we hiding secrets? Right? I don't know. Right? Are we doing something that isn't in accordance with spiritual law? Right? 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 Are we drinking? Are we sober? Right? Are we, are all these things? This is, and so again, this is our connection to love and life, right? Right. So, okay, let's kind of turn this around a little bit. So, um, the closer we are to water, to fire, to earth, to air, right? That creates a loving spiritual space, right? So, like if we're ashamed, if we're tired all the time, like if we're emotional wreck all the time, well, that tells us exactly to the degree in which we are distant from those life-giving things, right? Including love, because love is water, love is fire, love is all those things, love is everything, right? What is our relation to those specific things, right? And so as we move along, right, we discover, we engage, and as we do, there's this beautiful thing called healing, right. So those things so here, so part of my story is like, there's a lot of slips, a lot of slides, a lot of a lot of that, right? And that's okay. I used to beat myself up over that. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe, oh my god, there you go. Now it's like I just don't care. It was like that's just that was part of my healing process, right? That's it, right? I don't do those behaviors anymore, right? I just don't, you know. And with that, right? With that is like, let's talk. I was talking to a guy in like recovery, and we were talking about. I think it was last week. I think I'm gonna be on his like show or podcast or something later on. But we're talking about healthy boundaries, right? When we're traumatized, we don't have any healthy boundaries, right? We trauma bond with people, right? Oh, you're sick, I'm sick. Let's build a relationship together, right? That's trauma bond, right? But the healed, okay, I have healthy boundaries. That's the deal. We talked about. I think we talked about last night at the Missing Link with Jesse Hall on his show. And so so the healthier we are, the healthy boundaries we have. Like what? I don't have to do that, man. No, because that's not good. It doesn't feel good. It's not in alignment with what? Spiritual law. It's not in alignment with humility. So, humility. It could be like if it's more in line with humiliation, then that's what we're going to get, right? So these are beautiful ways to engage, those things that give us life, right? That's the beautiful thing, right? So that's the beautiful thing, right? So let's kind of read this again. So here's the thing. What are you carrying, right? And this is not a blame, shame, or guilt. What are you carrying, right? The spiritual paradox is the more love we carry, the lighter the load, right? I love you. I love you. Write that down. The spiritual paradox is the more love we carry, the lighter the load, right? Right. Let's take a run at it too. The more humility we carry, the lighter the load. That works too. The more truth we carry, the lighter the load, right? Even when we break it down, it still remains truthful. It still remains good, right? It turns into this beautiful, beautiful place, right? right? The more wisdom we carry, the lighter the load, right? More beaver medicine, right? The more courage we carry, the lighter the load, right? And the love is the one that carries all of them, right? Right? That's a beautiful place, right? Right. That is a beautiful, beautiful place, right? And so the simple, the most gentle thing is where are you aligned right now? Right. So this gauge is like the sunrise. Where are you? Right. Where are you? And you know the beautiful thing is here we talk about blame, shame, guilt, but there's no blame, shame, guilt here, right? Right. There's no blame, shame, guilt here. No, it's just simply this beautiful, gentle place. When you speak in beautiful, gentle terms, we know it comes from a beautiful, gentle place. When it comes from a beautiful, gentle place, then we know it comes from the Spirit, right? Right. Religions talk about blame, shame, guilt. There's none of that here. This is a beautiful, loving, spiritual paradox. That's the way it is. So they're really talking about spiritual law. Everything mirrors each other. So this is mirroring you. How you feel mirrors where you are, standing in relationship to what? Love, right? And love is not physical. That's down the line. We're not even talking about. We're not talking about relationships with a partner. No, we're talking about relationships. And you know, here's what the thing with that. And we got to say that because that's what most people think about love. Okay, yeah, nobody loves me because I don't have a partner. That's not even remotely true. That's not even remotely true. And that you can write down. It is your relationship with here. You walk with your truth. You walk with love. You know what? Your tribe will find you. That's because it has to mirror. That's spiritual law, right? People don't want to work on themselves, but they want a partner, right? That's the deal, right? You know, right? Like they go to these really low energy places to find a partner, like bars or like casinos, or these really low vibrational places, and that's not remotely healthy, right? That's not even in accordance with spiritual law. There's no spiritual law that says walk into a casino or walk into a bar or walk into, you know, and that's not so, but people go there all the time, right? Right? Like they think the physical has to match the spiritual. And, you know, again, they have that reversed, right? So let's go back here. Everything begins with the spiritual, right? Right. That's our relationship with, right? If we want to feel loved, right, we have to go to those places that give us love, right? Right. And that's the truth right there. Water gives us love. You know, and many would show me and see it all the time. It's like, you know, water is life. Well, you know, there's a lot of other things that give us life. It gives the impression that that's the only thing that gives us life. That's far from the truth. That's 1/4 of it. Right? Air gives us life. Here, try holding your breath, right? Try holding your breath and counting your money. See which one's more important. That, you know, after 10 seconds, you tell me, okay, without water, okay, without air, okay, without fire, okay. The fire at the center of the universe came down, started what? Boom, 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 boom. Our heartbeat. So we have fire. We have that energy running through our bodies, the same energy. So without that, that's life too. Okay. We come from the DNA of what? The universe and what? Of Mother Earth, the sacred feminine. Again, okay, we're back to this beautiful place of the sacred feminine, the life givers. We talked about that. We acknowledge that at the beginning. Because why? Because it gives us life, right? So, right? Do we have a good relationship? And men, we have a problem with, you know, relationship with the sacred feminine, right? Just because, you know, that colonial Western thinking has corrupted that. But really, in indigenous circles and men's circles, this is what we talk about. We talk about our relationship, right, with those things that give us life. So, men, we have to talk about, you know, we have to talk about those things that give us life. And it's more than just a partner, right? Or a lover, right? No, that's way on down the line. That's light years away from this conversation, right? Right. You know, that's why the boys and the men and sit with what? The grandfathers. The girls, the women sit with what? The grandmothers, right? That's why, right? Again, those are loving circles that we have forgotten about, right? Okay, so, you know, the eagle, let's talk about the eagle, kind of wrap it up. Oh, what time is it? Oh my God, we're running around. Where's the time go, man? I just thought we had 18 minutes left and now we're 4 minutes over. Okay, anyway. The eagle carries all that, carries everything, our hearts to the ears of the Creator, right? Carries our relationship in what? All directions. Love comes from all directions. Write that down, right? Knowledge and wind comes from all directions. Sometimes it blows up, sometimes it's just that. We know that, right? It comes from beautiful. So does love. So does wisdom. So does courage. Right? I love you. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm supposed to do announcements now. I really don't want to do it, other than I'm going to be in France. Those of you who are over here in Europe who want to go to my film opening. Yes, and we have book signings. We have some other things going on. I'm talking at a university in I forget what date. I'll just get into those dates. I'm a little too fired up to be focused right now. I love it. Okay, so let's find that beautiful, gentle place. Let's find that beautiful, gentle place. Just close your eyes. Let's go to that one really beautiful, loving place, right? Just close your eyes. I love you. Okay. Anyway, there's one more thing, right? There's one more thing. You know. So we'll go back to the reading real quick, then we'll close it up. So there's one more thing. Love does not negotiate. Right? If you're negotiating love, it's not love, it's something else, right? And the truth does not negotiate. We don't have the power to negotiate. We have the power to walk with, right? But there's no negotiation. The spiritual law does not negotiate. Here, write that down. That's one of the most important things, because we love to engage, we love to win, we love to be right, we love to get away with stuff. But the fact is, right, when we engage, we're supposed to engage in a good and beautiful way. If we do not, then guess what, right? It's not love who suffers, it is always us, right? And it is our families and communities and earth and the fire and our children that suffer. And at the end of the day, when we negotiate love, when we negotiate the truth, it is the next 7 generations that suffers, right? Write that down. The most loving thing we can do right now is be loving and truthful to ourselves right now. That's the most important thing, right? Okay. And as always, the final word is, this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So let's take what we lived here, loved here, learned here, and listened to here, and take it out to the 4 winds. My name is Kenny Poet Makwan, Standing Bear. And if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much. Okay, everyone. Oh, and one more thing, too. That's pretty good. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. Okay.